Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the League Zero Racing Series, the premier Formula iRacing League. We're at the French Grand Prix tonight. Looking forward to some more great action. As always, I'm your host, James East with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, bringing the action 1080p 60 frames a second as drivers are getting out underway onto the race course. And we get ready to get this show started. As always, let us know where you're from, who you're cheering on, as drivers will have the broadcast pulled up on a separate monitor device, and if they don't, they just about always go back and watch this thing over again. Let's run through the starting order today. On pole, the defending champ, Jaden Calloway. Shazi Zuhair, a very fast qualifying session, starting second. Kyle Deckard starting third. Julian Medor starting fourth. Gareth McAllister, the world-famous Aussie, starting fifth. Ryan Rage Quit Tebow starting sixth. Adam Plunkett starting seventh. Antonio Bianchi starting 8th, Leo Delmas starting 9th, Nick Peterson starting 10th, Michael Fairchild starts 11th, Zachary Bowman, the Supermoto kid, starting 12th, cycling on back to Mr. Jace Meyer starting 13th, Xavier Zanave, the Flying Frenchman, starting 14th, Arturo Mayorga starting 15th, Jacob Bramley starting 16th, Julia Cervone starts 17th, Willie Morris starting 18th, Dustin Oberlo starting 19th, Matt Foster starting 20th. Ray Aguilar starting 21st after serving a qualifying penalty. And Eric Guillory will round out the 22-car grid here today. We got Finley Fitzsimmons joining us in the spectator area. We've got Wilhelmy Rose Racing cheering on Shazi and Adam, who are out on track here tonight. Shazi again having that very good second place qualifying position. I'm trying to find Adam on the grid here. Yeah, there's Adam Plunkett. He's going to be starting 7th. As we get ready for the lights to turn on, turn off, and get him out on track. We are underway. Something has happened. Adam Plunkett starting from pit road. Ray Aguilar also going to start there. Jacob Brantley jumps to the pits. And I just see somebody taking a wild spin. Was that Kyle Deckard pointing the wrong way there? And it's going to be a bit of a meat grinder through the opening couple of corners. Deckard gets it fired back up, so let's go towards the front. Jaden Calloway's got a very big breakaway. Shazi Zuhair running second. There's Gareth McAllister has jumped to third. Ryan Tebow moving up to fourth here today. Tebow's got Julian Medor, Leo Delmas, Antonio Bianchi all right in tow here. Where is the points leader, Ray Aguilar, starting way back at the field, as Eric Guillory finds himself pointing the wrong direction. So this is the opening round, 15 laps for our sprint. And already some drivers are going to be having to retake some position, as I think that was Xavier Zanave, a little bit of a wiggle there, the number 12 machine. And a lot of side-by-side action here. Oh, and who was that? Was that Nick Peterson, I think, brushing against the wall of champions? That's going to give Zanave a chance to fire back here. Zanave now up into the top 10. And he immediately loses the spot to Peterson, falling back to 11. So right now your top 3, Calloway, Zuhair, McAllister, 1, 2, 3. Ryan Tebow, Julian Medor making up the top 5. Arturo Mayorga had a bit of an off-track excursion. Able to hold on to it here. Looks like Zachary Bowman's going to be able to capitalize on Mayorga's mistake. Mayorga losing 2 spots now as he's wheel-to-wheel with Adam Plunkett. Plunkett off in the grass there slightly. And we got a crash report. That's Julia Cervone. Finds herself pointing the wrong way, the number 18 machine. Now, it looks like we still have 21 of the 22 entries out on track here today. As look at this very frantic battle. You've got Julian Medor, Ryan Tebow, Leo Delmas, Antonio Bianchi all in a tidy pack here, battling just inside the top 5. Jace Meyer has an off-track excursion. It's going to result in a tow back to pit road. Let's see what happened to Meyer. Looks like it's going to be a solo incident. Loses the back end. Round she goes. And just tail taps in the wall. And unfortunately, that is enough to remove that back left wheel. Willie Morris, another driver, is going to take a tow back to pit road. So we're starting to lose some drivers here in the sprint. As we continue to watch this battle for 7th, Ryan Tebow trying to fend off Michael Fairchild and Nick Peterson. Heading back up to Leo Delmas. He's had Antonio Bianchi breathing down the gearbox of the number 21 machine just about the entire time here. As the top 4 drivers fairly spread out at this point, with Callaway, Zuhair, McAllister still 1, 2, 3. Mador and Delmas top 4th and 5th. And it looks like Delmas starting to track down Mador here a little bit. And there's Julian Mador still holding about a 1-second margin over that battle for 5th. So I'm curious to see, can Bianchi try and close that gap and break up a little bit higher? Every time Delmas and Bianchi find themselves battling, it's going to slow the pace down slightly, allowing Julian to kind of extend that gap. It looks like a little bit of a bobble there from Delmas. No, that's going to be Mador ahead, losing over a half second. And look at that, Antonio Bianchi, the Italian stallion, has moved up to 4th. Delmas slots into 5th. Mador falling back to 6th. Mador must have had some sort of slowdown there, is the only explanation that I can think of. And the top 3 continue to charge forward uncontested here in this sprint race. A little bit of a hiccup there in the broadcast booth. Looks like it's going to correct it. Let's go back. Ray Aguilar had that qualifying penalty here today, has made his way up into 12th. Now, talking to Aguilar before this sprint, he was hoping to immediately make a ton of ground in the opening couple of laps. Unfortunately, not the case. As Aguilar has caught up to the back of Zachary Bowman. And what will be the battle for 11th? Looks like Bowman's going to quickly yield the position, as something has happened. Adam Plunkett and Matt Foster, I believe, were involved in an incident. Oh, I just saw some car parts scattered off there. I'm not quite sure what happened to Plunkett. Let's see if we can back that up and reverse it a little bit. Was there net code between the two, I wonder? Oh, yes. Plunkett got into the back of him there. And then the car got all explodey. I wonder, was that Matt Foster? No, wasn't Foster involved in that. The Foster was involved in a separate incident. Just loses the back end, around he goes. And while that's going on, Xavier Zanabe, the flying Frenchman, also finds himself pointed the wrong way. And Zanabe gonna lose the rear wing, pulls out in traffic. And then, oh no, my goodness, who was involved in that? That was Arturo Mayorga. So a poor rejoin by Zanabe. So the field rapidly dwindling. So Adam Plunkett, Xavier Zanabe, Arturo Mayorga The most recent drivers taking a tow early down pit road here. That is going to leave just 15 drivers out on track. As Jaden Calloway clicking off laps, making it look easy here. And it sounded like Calloway was brushing the safety barriers here at the French Grand Prix as well. So we've whittled it down to 15 drivers out on the circuit. Now, as a reminder to the fans here tonight, the sprint finishing order is how we are going to start the feature event here as well. So Calloway started on pole in this sprint, wants to continue that going into the feature. Now, I'm interested to see what happens as well with Gareth McAllister sitting in third. The world-famous Aussie said he was going to start this sprint race, but thought he was going to have to leave early. So I wonder now that he finds himself in podium contention if he's going to stay out on track and forego the real-life commitments he has for that number 25 machine. And maybe stay out here for the feature as well. We'd love to see it. Such a strong result for the Aussie in a season that's been historically fairly tough on him here. And McAllister seemed like he was having a little bit of a brush with the outside wall as well. So this definitely seems to be a race of attrition tonight here for our drivers. It looks like the two closest we have out on track is going to be Julian Mador doing everything he can to try and track down Leo Delmas in that number 21 machine. That's going to be the possible future battle for the top 5. But only 7 laps to make it happen here. Also looks like Antonio Bianchi staying in 4th, breaking in within 1 second of McAllister. So I wonder, we might have 2 different battles forming up here. The possible battle for 3rd will be McAllister versus Bianchi. And then on screen right now, we're watching Julian Mador try and track down Leo Delmas. That's going to be the battle for 5th. Oh, and both battles getting within a half second of each other. Bianchi within a half, 4/10 of a second behind McAllister. Let's pan a little bit further up front to Bianchi, who is on a bit of a burner here, tracking down the Aussie, sitting in that final podium position. Oh, a bit of a blink there from McAllister. He's faced internet problems a fair amount this year. And now Bianchi's going to look to the inside line, have to tuck back in tow here behind McAllister, who's got the push to pass to try and get some breathing room. You can see him, it looks like Bianchi's on the push to pass here. Pulls up alongside McAllister. Bianchi will work his way now. It's going to be the 5th spot gained as he is in that final podium position. 5 laps left to go. What does McAllister have left in the proverbial tank to try and track down Bianchi? Wants another podium to his name. Right now, hard charger out on track is Aguilar. Had that qualifying penalty. He's gained 11 spots here. Now sitting in the 10th place position. Aguilar also holds the fastest lap of the race. That was last time by a 1:19.01. Let's go ahead and call that a 1:19 flat, as I think he was getting a little bit of a tow from Fairchild helping him out. Fairchild, the number 88, sitting in 9th. He is up 2 spots so far. And it looks like Bianchi trying to hammer down, putting a bit of a gap on McAllister. I saw a brief off-track light up there for Bianchi, but he is ripping, and that number 17 machine has now made it a 1.1 second advantage. The battle's still going on as well. Leo Delmas, Julian Mador, within about a half second of each other. Aguilar makes his 12th spot, 12th position gained of the night, I should say, moving up into that 9th place position. Mador has got within 0.2 of a second of Delmas. Oh, here we go. They pull up alongside of each other. Mador ahead by a car length. Delmas is going to fall in line here. Both drivers through the wall of champions, nice and clean. Thibaut had a bit of an issue through that final corner. He's going to lose 2 spots there, one to Aguilar and one to Fairchild. But Thibaut still holding on to a top 10 position, but he's got Kyle Deckard. Oh no, Thibaut must have had a slowdown as he hops offline and on the binders. So that's going to put Thibaut back into 11th here. And just like that, the field very spread out. We check back in on race leader Jaden Calloway, the defending champ, and that number 1 has almost a 7-second gap over the rest of the field here today. And this is where Calloway is absolutely dangerous. When he gets that clean track, able to break away from the rest of the field like this, it is not uncommon to see some record-breaking lap times out of that defending champ. And I pull up the standings here. Right now, coming into tonight, Ray Aguilar with Avanti Autosport, still your points leader, 114-point advantage over Calloway. And staying in 3rd place is none other than 2nd place on track, Shazi Zuhair. So Zuhair in this back half of the season suddenly finds himself in top 3 contention. I don't believe we've seen Zuhair finish so well in a championship yet here at League Zero. That was interesting hearing the engine out of Callaway. Almost sounded like he missed the gear there, which would be extremely uncharacteristic for the number 1 machine. As we go on board with Callaway. Man, oh man, how close is Callaway getting to that wall? Close enough to leave a little bit of racing rubber on the side. We go back to the points leader, Ray Aguilar, the number 72, catching up to Nick Peterson. Trying to get a draft off that number 24 machine. Now Aguilar, I think he knows the podium is going to be out of sight for this sprint, but he wants to put himself in the best position possible for the feature. And that will be the 14th position gain from Aguilar over the course of this abbreviated 15-lap sprint. So that means the feature is going to be 30 laps on the board. And it's going to be very interesting to see what the tire strategy is going to be for these drivers. Right now, we're not really seeing lap times fall off too much. Callaway out front, his last time by on 119.66. His fastest lap of the race at 19.56. I'm going to pan back to Callaway here. Curious to see, does he improve on a 119.66? Does not, slowing down slightly here. So we're starting to see maybe some tire fall off at the tail end of this sprint. That may kind of change the pit strategy for these drivers going into the feature event. So the white flag will be out next time by for Callaway. Putting on an absolute clinic out here today. Oh, I see another race forming up as well, though. Michael Fairchild has Kyle Deckard closing in from behind. Looks like Fairchild also catching up to number 24 of Nick Peterson just ahead. So we may very well have a 3-car battle for 8th unfolding here, as the white flag is unfurled for Jaden Callaway. We'll take a little bit of a bobble there from Peterson's going to lose a fistful of tenths. So white flag officially out here. The Canadian Grand Prix sprint race coming to a close. Peterson's trying to hold on to that 8th place spot, but Fairchild charging from behind. Looks like Deckard's lost these two drivers just a little bit here. And let's see, what is Fairchild still out left in the back pocket? He has got all sorts of pressure on Peterson. Within a quarter of a second of that 8th place driver potting the number 24 machine. Things are tightening up all across the field here as well, so I'm not quite sure what's happened. As now it looks Shazi Zuhair has Antonio Bianchi picking up from behind, but there we go. Jaden Callaway once again back on top here at League Zero. Looks like Shazi Zuhair may be able to hold on to second, but Bianchi was closing the gap rather quickly. McAllister will hold on to the 4th place spot. Julian Medor, that's a busy track. As Aguilar squeezes home another spot there right at the tail end, knocking Leo Delmas back into 7th. Michael Fairchild will finish 8th. Nick Peterson 9th, and Ryan Tebow will round out the top 10. So we're going to get these drivers up here to victory lane. As we wait for a few more to take the checkers. So it looks like the gang is all here. We're going to start things off with Mr. Antonio Bianchi. Join us in that 3rd place spot. Bianchi, welcome back, my friend. We've seen you on the podium more and more often here this season.
I know, it's amazing what happens. It's been good. I've been very close to podiums or on the podium, and I'm very happy to say that.
And it seems like, as well, the home field advantage really coming into play here tonight. 2 out of 3 of our podium contenders, all Canadians. Do you think that kind of played into the success for you and your rivals?
I'd love to say it does. I can't lie, the friendly competition between me and Shaji for who's the best Canadian at the Canadian track's pretty fun. But yeah, no, I don't think it does. But you know what? It's always good to be up here in the home races here. So I'm happy with that.
Well, always cool having you up here. Antonio, we expected a lot of drivers not finishing the sprint, but seemed like it went relatively well, all things considered. Are you going to kind of carry that same wager of a bunch of crash cars over into the feature event?
We'll have to see. It's usually, the first few corners here are pretty tight, and problem is if you lose it on cold tires, which is pretty easy to do, it can cause a pretty gnarly traffic jam. So it really comes down to how easy guys take it on the first lap. So we'll have to see how it goes.
Well,
But
it's going to be
starting up here definitely is an advantage.
Yeah, that clean track is going to be crucial on this feature event. But Antonio, always cool having you back up here in the top 3. We've seen it a lot this season. Before I let you go, who you want to give a shout to that helped make it happen for you?
As always, shout out to my teammate Ray. He's always doing awesome. I also just want to shout out everybody this week. We had a lot of people contribute to the league in regards to donations and stuff, helping with paying for guys like you to be here. So you know what? I really am thankful to everybody who did that. So shout out to all the people who did and everyone who participated this week. And as always, you,
Hey,
Mr.
good.
JPs, for doing what you do.
We always appreciate it, Antonio. Thank you so much, buddy, and hope to have you back up here following the feature.
Sounds good. See you in 40 minutes.
Yes, sir. That was Antonio Bianchi bringing it home in second. Up next, old friend Shazi Zuhair joined us, the second place spot. Shazi, the fastest Canadian at the home track. Gotta feel good for that one.
Yeah, that felt good. I don't know if I was the fastest near the end there. Antonio was catching me pretty quick, so congrats to him as well, and then congrats to Jaden on the win as well there.
Now, Shazi, was that a cleaner race than you were expecting? Was it about on par for the course? What were you thinking was going to happen going into this sprint?
For me personally, from my side, it was kind of clean because I just ran my own race. But I think in lap one there might have been an incident. I don't know. But even in practice, the car was kind of slippery on the track for me personally. So I wouldn't be surprised if there were any incidents behind there.
Now, with the car being slippery, does that improve throughout the run, or does it progressively get worse throughout the race?
I think it improved as the tires warmed up. It just took a bit longer to warm up the tires for me here than like the other races that we run. So,
well, Shazi, I've seen you do some pretty wild pit strategies with tires in the past. What's going to be the key takeaway going to this feature that's going to try and put you back up here in the top three?
I think just trying to be clean here. I know Ray was kind of setting really fast lap times there too, and then Antonio was really fast behind. So we'll see what we can do with the pit strategy there and hopefully get another podium.
Awesome. Shazi, always a pleasure having you up here, buddy. A lot of fun talking to you and watching your race. Who do you want to give a shout to that helped you bring home this podium before I let you go and get ready for the feature?
Like always, a big shout out to my wife and my cat, and also to you, James, for putting up these broadcasts, and also to the guys running the league here. It's really fun every week, so I enjoyed it a lot.
Well, couldn't do it without rock stars like you, Shazi. Welcome back to the top three and hope to have you up here following the feature.
Thanks, James. Appreciate it.
No worries, sir. That was Shazi Zuhair bringing up in second. Up next, the man himself, Jaden Calloway. Jaden, I don't know if you know this, but you've been getting in Aguilar's head a little bit here this season, finding out on top of your real life schedule how much you're able to put into sim and maybe intimidating some of the competition a little bit.
Oh, I don't know anything about that, but yeah, this week definitely I haven't been on as much. I've been out basically every day, so I've only got like an hour of practice in, but still managed to pull out the win, so I'm happy.
Yeah, seemed like it was clean track, smooth sailing after the first couple of laps, able to check out. Was there a push-to-pass strategy in play that you were trying to implement to get that clean air?
No, I didn't touch the push to pass. I was just trying to put in consistent laps and not smash into a wall, and it worked out.
It worked out very well. Now, Jay, I mean, is the plan for the future to kind of repeat that? And does the tire wear, is that going to play any sort of factor for you and the other drivers tonight?
Yeah, definitely. I want to be out in the clean air in front. I'm expecting Ray to be pretty close within the first few laps, if not the first half of the race. But yeah, as far as tire wear, it'll probably make a little difference, but we have to switch anyway, so I'm thinking it's going to be fine, but we'll see.
Now, and it seems like the strategy for tire wear has changed rapidly across the season. Is there starting to see a trend that you develop? Are you starting to see a trend develop over the course, or is it very much a race, or I see more accurately a track-to-track decision influence?
Yeah, it really depends on the track. Tire wear isn't super prevalent in this car. It's not really strong, but at certain tracks, it's definitely more noticeable. So it really just depends on where you're at.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. The strategy lends to some really good racing. Jane, good to have you back up here in that top spot. Before I let you go get ready for the feature, who do you want to give a shout to that helps make it happen tonight?
Yeah, as always, I'm going to shout out my friends and family watching and supporting me. I'm going to shout out my team, Squid Gang Racing, and my teammates, AJ and Fabian.
Awesome. Jaden, always a pleasure, buddy. Best of luck in the feature out there.
Thank you.
That was Jaden Calloway bringing it home in the top spot. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back with more action here at League Zero. as we get ready to send them right back out for the feature event.
Oh, Pearson gets into the 95 of Bolts. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona, and away we go for the first time. Nicholas Morcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Dom's, possibly a little bit of contact.
Now, as we've got 3 wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let him go very far.
Go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
See just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
Smooth stuff. Cody Graham's the one-on-one up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out, and away we go for the very first time here at Okayama International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons.
All right, race fans, you know what time it is. It is time for the feature event here tonight. 30 laps on the board. Looks like we've got about 20 drivers joining. Unfortunately, the world-famous Aussie, Gareth McAllister, had to head out after this one. Now, we talked about that during the sprint. Originally, we didn't think he was going to make the start of the sprint. Found himself with great track position and opted to neglect those real-life responsibilities, which here at Team Goon Squad, we are a huge proponent for. Real-life racing always comes first, ladies and gentlemen. And it's cool to see Dylan Waldron join us in the chat. The Canada Grand Prix, of course, he's cheering on Ryan Tebow. Let's see if I can pull up a little stat here. For that race, Tebow was the 4th fastest Canadian out on track for the sprint. There's a little bit of bragging rights at play here tonight. You've got Shazi Zuhair, Antonio Bianchi, Julian Mador, Ryan Tebow, all Canadian, all here for bragging rights. We got Mikey Games joining us. That's a voice and a name we haven't heard too long. Mikey, a pretty world famous Twitch streamer, I believe. As all the Canadians are getting a whole lot of love here. That's cool to see. I think Mikey Games will probably be cheering on. Yep, just saw it right as I was saying it. He's cheering on Ray Aguilar, that number 72 machine. So if you're just tuning in, Aguilar did have to serve a qualifying penalty tonight for the sprint, which means you start at the back of the pack. Actually, I think it was a grid start. So had to start from pit road for Mr. Ray Aguilar. So now Aguilar, who finished 6th in the sprint race, will naturally be starting 6th on the feature row. As we get ready to send him off here at the Canadian Grand Prix, it looks like Gareth McAllister, Adam Plunkett, Jacob Bramley will not be joining us for this one. And we are underway, and already tire smoke filling the horizon. Jaden Calloway won the sprint, qualified in the top spot, wants to break away here as quickly as he can. Shazi Zuhair and Antonio Bianchi, the two fastest Canadians out on track, running 2nd and 3rd. Leo Delmas in 4th. Aguilar has already made his way up into 5th. So let's go back, check in. There's Aguilar, tucked in behind Leo Delmas, the smooth-talking Frenchman, the number 21 machine. You can also see Ryan Thibault, another fast Canadian, just out of frame, as there's Michael Fairchild. Here comes Aguilar trying to set something up here. I saw it very briefly and off track. I think that was going to be Leo Delmas. Losing a couple spots here. Delmas has fallen back down to 6th. That's going to put Aguilar in 4th. And it looks like the top 6 can get him a breakaway. There's Kyle Decker, the number 53 machine, with Ryan Thibault right behind. Now this is interesting. I see Shazi Zuhair closing the gap to Jaden Calloway. Not something I can say I would have expected, but we've got a big incident there. Eric Guillory finds himself off track. Let's see what happened to Guillory. Is that a solo incident? Does he get a little bit of help? Just misses the corner in the Jack Daniels. Oh, and very wisely gets on the brakes to avoid pulling out into traffic. So we're back to Shazi Zuhair in 2nd. Tracked down Callaway a little bit here. I think he was within 3 or 4 tenths. And you can also see Antonio Bianchi about 8 tenths behind, but Bianchi has his teammate Ray Aguilar in tow, that number 72 machine. So let's go a little bit further back. There's Zuhair still tracking down Callaway. Antonio Bianchi has his teammate Ray Aguilar shadowing him behind. Aguilar just clicked off the fastest lap of the race. I think those lap times are only going to decrease as this keeps going on here tonight. Not too far behind Bianchi and Aguilar. You can see Michael Fairchild. He's about 1.3 seconds back, running kind of in no man's land, but the top 3 really tightened up here as we check in. There's Antonio Bianchi. We just talked about him getting chased by his teammate Aguilar. Everybody in the top 3 within about 1.3 seconds of each other. We know the tire wear is going to be a little bit of a factor here tonight. But I'm excited. We could have a 4-car shootout here. And there is only 3 podium positions to share the love and score those interviews. Shazi Zuhair down pit road very early for an undercut. Leo Delma's also going to come down pit road, so already seeing some pretty wild strategies. Aguilar is going to move up to second now. Bianchi falls back to third as Zuhair and Delmas down pit road, taking those mandatory tires early on the race. We've seen Zuhair do that before. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out for him here tonight. That's going to give Callaway a little bit of a break. He's 8/10 up over Aguilar. Now is Aguilar going to try and hammer down immediately and see if he can reel in Callaway and stay glued back to that number one machine? Or is he going to run his own race and worry about his own tire wear? So now the top three, as a very odd pit cycle has started. It's Callaway, Aguilar, Bianchi. 1, 2, 3. We've seen those Avanti Autosport drivers of Aguilar and Bianchi share a podium several times this season. Looks like our question is answered. Aguilar hammering down the throttle sets again. Another fastest lap of the race. Let's see if it's faster than a 20.29 as he crosses the line. Tucked in behind Callaway. Callaway a 120.89. And yeah, Aguilar's on fire. A 120.11. He is right off the back of Callaway. Are we going to see a battle for the lead here? Or is Aguilar going to stay glued to the back of Callaway? We've got Miss Shapiroful join us. A bonjour, salute to you as well. Jeremy Barber cheering on Zach Bowman. Shada Ads also cheering on Zach Bowman. Bowman having a pretty good race. He's worked that 96 machine up 2 spots into the 9th place spot. Right now the camera glued to this pretty frantic battle for the top 3. Really cool seeing all the fans come out in force here tonight. Let's go a little bit further back. I want to check in. There's Julian Mador leading a pretty healthy pack as well. Another Canadian right behind Mador. Ryan Tebow also up 2 spots. You can see Zachary Bowman, Julia Cervone just inside the top 10. Chase Meyer going to come down for their 1 mandatory stop of the evening. Oh, and a big bobble there from Mador. Ryan Tebow taking evasive maneuvers. Mador tries to help facilitate that pass way off the pace. And here comes Zachary Bowman charging in. Mador had that mistake and it seemed to compound rather quickly. That may lead to Bowman grabbing his 3rd position gain of the night. Bowman hunting for an opportunity here. And looked like Bowman's going to do it after another bobble from Mador. And oh, right as I pan to it, what a move there. That was Kyle Deckard with a gutsy pass against Michael Fairchild. That's going to put Deckard up into 4th. Oh, more interesting pit stop strategy. Zachary Bowman, Julian Mador down pit road just 7 laps into this feature. Deckard moves up to 4th, about 4 seconds back from 3rd place driver Antonio Bianchi. Jaden Callaway, Ray Aguilar still linked up about 0.3 of a second. Let's make it a 1/4 of a second between the two running up front. They've broken away from Aguilar's teammate Bianchi. Now a 1.4 second gap for the 3rd place driver. And last time by, Callaway answered with his own fastest lap of the race, the fastest lap of the race, a 119.82. So in the sprint, we only saw a few drivers get into the 119s. Seems like things are wicking up a little bit here in the feature. And I see a Fairchild. Ooh, dragging a little bit of tire into the dirt, a little bit dirt out onto the track. Looked like he was going to have a good run there against Deckard, but not quite able to make it happen. Deckard, a newcomer here at League Zero, so a bit of an unknown here in the 53 machine. Always fun for me as a broadcaster and announcer to see some new faces coming out to the series, because you never quite know what they're going to do, good, bad, or ugly. But it seems like Deckard not feeling the pressure at all here tonight. Oh, it's Fairchild, a big bobble, losing the back end. Able to chase it and hold on to it. And that's going to put Deckard squarely into the 4th place spot, a little bit further back in the field. A 3-car battle for 13th. You've got Foster, Bowman, and Mador. So Bowman must have had some sort of bobble to have him losing a few more positions here. Undoing that work he did early on here in the feature. And this is going to get a little bit dicey. 3 drivers battling for that 13th place position. Julian Mador looking for an opening, can't find it. As Bowman grabs a spot back against Foster. And it looks like Bowman's going to get a bit of a breakaway there. Foster still sitting 14th. Julian Mador having a rough go in this one, down 10 spots, trying to get some momentum built back up in the 78 machine. Mador putting the pressure on Foster here, trying to find a way through and around the number 32 machine. Preferably around and not through him here. As that is one of the things we try and avoid, is crashing into your good friends out on track. Mador doing everything he can here up front. Callaway and Aguilar still separated by about a quarter of a second, so I think Aguilar is going to continue pacing Callaway here. Oh, but we've got another crash report. Looks like this time it's going to be Mr. Ryan Tebow, the number 27 machine. Looks like he's pointing in the right direction, so I wonder if it was a bobble from the Wall of Champions. We get the replay queued up for the 27. Looks good so far. A little bit too much curbing, and around he goes. Ooh, impacts the rear wall. Thankfully, the wing stays on. So that is going to leave Antonio Bianchi as our fastest Canadian. I'm curious to see how things go for Shazi Zuhair. That number 10 machine sitting 10th. He came down pit road extremely early into this feature event, so he's going to stay out on pretty much original set of tires. There's Jaden Callaway with one Ray Aguilar right behind. Now I think Aguilar knows as well, to keep his points lead, doesn't necessarily need to beat Callaway, just needs to stay right there behind him. I think mathematically, if Callaway finished first in every race and Aguilar finished second every race for the rest of the season, I think Aguilar would still be able to hold the championship numbers under his belt. But knowing how the racers are here at League Zero, Aguilar wants a win more than anything. We got Dylan Waldron asking us how many more races left to go this season. Let me pull that up for you here. Oh, the connection did not like that up here in the broadcast booth. So I believe this is round 10. This is round 10 out of 14. So after tonight, 4 more races to go. So that's 8 points paying races, including the sprint and the feature these drivers will still have. And I have definitely seen crazier things happen in League Zero. I can't tell you, I'd say more often than not, we've seen championships come down to the final round of a season, to the final feature event of a season. Ryan Tebow back out on track after his one pit stop. Looks like Tebow got some repairs done on the number 27 machine during that stop as well. He's in his pit stall for 55 seconds. To give you a bit of a comparison, Shazi Zuhair, the first driver to take those mandatory tires in and out of his pit stall, 7.4 seconds. So we're going to expect to see around 6.8 seconds to 7.5 seconds as an average pit time here at the Canadian Grand Prix. Now, it looks like Aguilar's backed off the pace here just ever so slightly. As we are not quite to the halfway mark of today's main event. Still Callaway out front. Aguilar's closed that gap back down to 0.7 of a second. Now, we talked about Shazi with that early strategy, that massive undercut over the rest of the field. Has worked his way up into 9th now. And he has Willie Morris just ahead. And it looked like Antonio Bianchi had a bit of an off track there in that 3rd place position. He's going to lose a fair amount of time. I wonder if that's going to allow Kyle Decker, the newcomer in the 53 machine, to find himself maybe battling for a podium spot here. So quite a few different pit strategies. As we get closer to the halfway mark, I'm wondering if we're going to see a flurry of pit road activity of drivers coming down to take tires right at the halfway mark. And we may also see some drivers wait till the very end. As a reminder to the fans, here at League Zero, you cannot take tires, the mandatory tires, on the opening lap. And you cannot take those mandatory tires on the final lap. Oh, and I'm terribly sorry. I also missed the comment from Dylan Waldron asking what race is next week. That is going to be the Hungarian Grand Prix, naturally at the Hungaroring. And that's going to be a little bit different format for these drivers. So instead of having a feature and a sprint, we are going to have a 42-lap shootout, a ultra race, if you will. Looks like more battling. There is Arturo Mayorga, Dustin Oberlo side by side, the battle for 16. Also looks like Leo Delma, Zachary Bowman still having a great battle for 11th. That's two drivers that haven't really been able to get away from each other during this feature event. I've got to say that's one of probably my favorite parts about calling the action here at League Zero is there's always somebody you're going to find yourself racing with. Doesn't matter if you're, a top 5 contender, a frequent podium finisher, or looking for a personal best trying to break into a top 10. The field is stacked very, very deep here and lends itself to some really good racing. Yeah, I'm curious to see how the 42 lap, almost not quite a mini endurance is going to go. Hopefully everybody's got the fuel numbers figured out. You cannot refuel these Super Formula machines during one of these events. Callaway still your race leader. With Aguilar trying to make something happen here. So this is going to be good. Callaway and Aguilar, the elbows are out amongst these two championship contenders. Ryan, oh no, we just got a report. Ryan Tebow has put it back behind the virtual wall after another incident for one of the fan favorite Canadians. We're focusing on Tebow, the number 27. He had damage early on. Looks like it's going to be through Champions Corner, and it's the exact same spot, but with even worse results. An absolute yard sale as parts go everywhere for Mr. Ryan Tebow. So from my understanding, yes, the push-to-pass, which is available to these drivers, I believe it's 200 seconds available of push-to-pass for these drivers, will burn up a little bit more fuel. Now, we've had a spattering of feature events so far this season where drivers had to be kind of wary of fuel. I mean, you've seen it in the last couple of races where we saw some drivers run out of fuel that were maybe a little bit too liberal on the push-to-pass. But lends itself to maybe some more interesting strategy options available to these drivers. And another driver going to go back behind the wall. That's Miss Julia Cervone. Having an incident in the number 18 machine. Too much curbing. And just absolutely drills the guard. Looks like we're live, but something has happened with the stream here. So let's see what's going on up here in the booth. Give me 1 second. Let's see what's going on. We'll be right back with the action here at League Zero.
Oh, Pearson gets into the 95 of Bolts. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona, and away we go for the first time. Nicholas Porcel, Sean.
It looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Dom's, possibly a little bit of contact.
Now, as we've got 3 wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let it go very far.
Nice to go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
See just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
New stuff. Cody Graham's the one-on-one up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out, and away we go for the very first time here at Oklahoma International Circuit. Finley
All right, race fans, we are back. Sorry for that little bit of a hiccup there. Now I'm trying to see, as we're back to the action, did Callaway opt to pit or did he have a mistake? As Callaway now shows in the 3rd place position. We're not entirely sure if Callaway boxed or not. We'll try and get confirmation here. Maybe one of the drivers joining us from the spectator area had a bit of a connection issue up here in the booth. The joys of remote broadcasting. Sometimes the old hotspot doesn't play too nicely with us. Michael Fairchild down pit road, so I would assume that Aguilar has stayed out. I would think that Callaway might have pitted. He's showing about a half lap down from Aguilar. So if I was a wagering man, and I am, I think Callaway came down pit road during that rolling blackout is what we'll call that. Media blackout, maybe. So as it stands, it's Aguilar, Callaway, Bianchi. 1, 2, 3. So it looks like things are stable up here in the booth. And now we're waiting to see when is Aguilar going to come down pit road for his one scheduled stop. He's got the clean air on the front of that number 72 machine. I imagine he's going to absolutely hammer down here. Something has happened to Fairchild. Has obliterated the number 88 machine. Followed by a tow down pit road. Loses the car. And just smashes it to bits there. Realizes that the whole left side of the car is gone. And he will join the list of drivers who has taken a tow down pit road, retiring early from this event. We've got 8 laps left to go. So we're fairly certain Bianchi has yet to pit as well, as he sits in 3rd. We're fairly confident Aguilar is yet to box and that Callaway has already come down pit road in that number 1 machine. Aguilar clicks off the fastest lap of the race. That's where that clean air really pays dividends for a race leader. He spent the opening half of this race pacing Callaway, who has had fantastic pace all night long here, the Canadian Grand Prix. And as I say that, Callaway answered with the fastest race lap of his own. A full 10th faster than Aguilar just clicked down. So these guys are wicking it up here tonight. As the fuel load starts to decrease, these guys are going to get faster and faster. Also looks like a battle for 5th underway. Oh, somebody pulled over there. I think that was lap traffic. Maybe Mayorga or maybe Oberlo. Not wanting to impede this battle that Peterson and Deckard are having for that top 5 position. Peterson up 4 spots, number 24 machine. Deckard is up 6. Deckard right in the slipstream of Peterson. Peterson runs a little bit narrower line. That's Deckard runs a little bit narrower line. Peterson trying to carry as much exit speed out of the corner as possible as they get ready to come to the wall of champions. Let's see, is Deckard going to put himself up for a draft pass from the start-finish line straight? Deckard going for that slow in, fast out. But Peterson really nails the corner there, keeping Deckard about a half second behind. Deckard gaining about a tenth at the start-finish line stretch, but not quite enough here. And then another battle we have going on. Julian Mador facing the flying Frenchman of Xavier Zenave. A little bit of back and forth action. Mador makes the pass and makes it clean. Trying to break the draft of Zenave there. Ray Aguilar down pit road for his one scheduled stop. So let's see, where does that put Jaden Calloway? Following this pit cycle for our race leaders, when Aguilar came down pit road, he was 24 seconds ahead of Calloway. Aguilar hits his pit stall. In and out, 7.97 seconds. Calloway crosses the line. Where's Aguilar going to be? Just ahead there. So we are going to have a battle for the lead after all. Excuse me, caught myself muting the microphone up here in the booth right before a very healthy sneeze. So Aguilar is going to hold on to the race lead on pit strategy. Calloway 4 tenths behind. Gallagher letting us know he thinks that Deckard, the 53 machine, may be doing some fuel saving early on here. I am very excited. We've seen Aguilar and Calloway elbows out several times this season. Calloway on the push to pass. Oh, and a bit of a bobble there from Aguilar. Calloway back in that top spot. Aguilar is going to play second fiddle here. We have got a race underway here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Now I wonder what the fans are saying. Gallagher saying maybe fuel saving at play for Kyle Deckard, the number 53 machine. I wonder if maybe Aguilar is going to do the same. Is this going to be a fuel mileage race here tonight? 4 laps left to go. Calloway a 119.12 last time by. We're getting dangerously close to somebody getting to the 118s here tonight in Montreal. Aguilar a half second back. If he's fuel saving, I would imagine he wants to be a little bit closer to the gearbox of that number 1 machine. Looks like we also have a battle for third. That's going to be the bragging rights spot. The 2 Canadians, Antonio Bianchi, Shazi Zuhair. They're both on the podium in the feature event. And look at the fastest lap times just posted. Calloway a 119.1. Fastest lap of the race. Aguilar answers with a personal fastest, a 119.16. We might see somebody break into the 118s by the time it's all set and over here. Shazi Zuhair all over the gearbox of Bianchi. Just a few short laps left to go here tonight. Calloway, your race leader, is broken over a second ahead of Aguilar. There goes Shazi Zuhair, a big lunge at the inside line for third. So Zuhair back to podium contention here. running very, very well in the number 10 machine. You heard the podium interviews during the sprint. It's all about bragging rights. And look at that. Callaway into the 118s, a 118.99 by the skin of his teeth, though. We thought it might be possible, and Callaway immediately answers the broadcaster's call, clicking off a very, very fast lap. We've got AJ Brenner join us in the spectator area. Shame not to see Brenner out on track, but always cool having him joining us, cheering on his teammate Callaway when the opportunity arises. Now let's see. Aguilar was about 1.2 seconds back. Has closed it within about 0.8 of Callaway, so I'm expecting maybe a fast lap as well. As I think I'm losing my voice up here in the booth. The action has not stopped here at League Zero. Right now it's Callaway and Aguilar first and second. Way, way back, 15 seconds behind is Zuhair and Bianchi battling for that final podium spot. Yeah, and Brenner rehashing what Callaway said in the sprint. Normally, Callaway puts in hundreds and hundreds of laps for a race here at League Zero. Had a bunch of real-life commitments. Only had about an hour of practice coming into tonight. And Callaway showing he's got the raw pace, the raw ability. Aguilar trying to track down Callaway here. We're getting ready to unfurl the white flag. They've got a half lap left to go before the white flag is displayed. This is going to be a final lap shootout here, I think. Aguilar wants to put himself into a position where he can do a last-ditch draft pass. These guys are so equally matched on pace here tonight. Aguilar pulls out the draft, not even on the push-to-pass. Side by side goes Aguilar, taking over the race lead from Callaway into the final corner. We're going to take the white flag with Callaway now in second. Aguilar in the top spot. He wants the win here tonight. Doesn't necessarily need to get first to keep the top championship points. But this is a great race between the two as we start the final lap as Aguilar 0.6 up over Callaway. I believe both drivers have push-to-pass available, but Callaway is falling back 1.4 seconds back from Aguilar. Is this the fuel numbers we were talking about? Oh, this is going to be interesting if this comes down to a fuel mileage event on the final lap. As Callaway hemorrhaging time here, 1.6 seconds back from Aguilar. Oh, what has happened? Callaway's got to be short on fuel. Aguilar comes to the line. He's going to finish, by a country mile. 13 seconds and counting over Callaway. And Aguilar is ecstatic. No, what has happened? Callaway falls back to third. Callaway is out of gas here tonight. Shazi Zuhair brings home second. Antonio Bianchi finishes third. Callaway, is going to have to rock back and forth to get to the line. Kyle Deckard gets up to fourth. Where is Callaway going to finish here tonight? Can he make it to the line? He is rocking back and forth. He has got the clutch in. Oh my goodness, I would have never expected. Can Callaway make it to the line? He will barely make it, finishing in seventh.
I was not expecting that here tonight. So that is going to be Shazi Zuhair. No, excuse me, Ray Aguilar, Shazi Zuhair, and Antonio Bianchi, your top three. What a wild finish here at League Zero. My goodness. So we're going to try and get these top three drivers up here to victory lane. And my, oh my, what a race. We got a confirmation Willie Morris also ran out of fuel in that one. What a race, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to try and get these drivers up here to victory lane. And one of the wildest finishes I think I've called here at League Zero. Definitely extremely unexpected. We're going to start things off with Mr. Antonio Bianchi, the Italian stallion. Antonio, back-to-back podiums, a little bit unsuspected there.
Well, I said I was going to be here again. I did not think I was going to be here like that. I can't lie.
Yeah, I mean, all of a sudden, drivers dropping like flies in the final few laps, and you were able to squeeze up a podium.
Yeah, I was super tight on fuel. Like, I pretty much was. We noticed it at the beginning. We're like, oh no, we're a lap short on fuel, and like saving a lap here is like a lot of fuel, man. So we were like, oh no. So I started saving like midway through the race, thinking the pit stop was gonna like change it a bit, and it didn't. I came out and I was like, oh no, I'm still half a lap short. It's gonna be sketchy.
Well, so Antonio, it was a bit of a fuel-saving race tonight. Now, next week, we're kind of doing, I don't know what we're calling, if it's a crown jewel extended format or what the term is, but 42 laps next week. What do you think that's going to play into for fuel mileage?
You know what? I think it's gonna be probably close still, but the setups are pre-set with a certain amount of fuel. So this one was, I think, unintentionally close, but it was close. And I think the 42 lapper, we should have plenty of fuel, but definitely gonna have to double check the calculations on that one.
Especially after tonight. But Antonio, good to have you back up here. Back-to-back tops three. You and Shazi back and forth, the fastest Canadians at the local home track. So the fans were rooting for you guys throughout the night. But before I let you go, who do you want to give a shout to that helped make it happen?
Shout out to my teammate Ray for saving enough fuel there to take the win down. Shout out to Shaji as well, man. That was fun racing him there. I thought I had him schooled, and then I start looking, and I'm like, oh no, man, he's catching me. And then he had enough fuel saved too. So good job on him to notice that. And yeah, other than that though, shout out again to everybody who showed up. James, awesome broadcast as usual. But yeah, awesome.
Awesome. Thank you, Antonio. It was a pleasure. Cool having you back to back here tonight. Hope to have you back up here next week following that extended format as well.
Yeah, sounds good, man. We'll catch you later. Also, shout out Tyler Heinrich if you're watching, bro. Hi.
All right. Got it.
See.
That was a very goofy Antonio Bianchi bringing it home in third. Love that guy. What a great guy. Up next, the undefeated fastest Canadian out on track here tonight. Welcome back, Shazi Zuhair.
Hey, James. Good to be back, man, finally.
Yeah, no doubt. It seemed like the momentum really building up, the home track advantage. I mean, we had Canadians joining the spectator area. They were cheering on all of you guys out on track, getting a whole lot of love from the fans here tonight, and able to make it happen, saving fuel and kind of just squeezing through here.
Yeah, first of all, thanks to everyone watching. And yeah, like I crossed the line, and as I crossed the line, the engine started sputtering. So it was really extremely tight on fuel. I think kind of pitting a bit earlier helped, kind of staying behind some of the cars there while we were making our way through the track. But happy with the result, can't complain.
Well, Shazi, it's super cool. Now, next week we have that extended format, 42 laps at the Hungaroring. What's your thoughts? What's your expectations? Are you looking forward to that? Are you nervous that so many people are going to go home early, or you just going to show up and send it in your typical smooth fashion?
I don't know. I like that track a lot, so I'm looking forward to that. I think, especially with those single session races, it's just you just got to be consistent, just try to survive, and then hope for a good result. So that's what I'm hoping for next week.
Well, it seemed like you're able to implement and execute on that perfectly here tonight, getting that second spot. I mean, back-to-back seconds of the number 10 machine. Super cool having you up here. A great points night. Definitely in the hunt for a top 3 championship. So always great seeing the continued progress, Shazi. And before I let you go and unwind from this one, who do you want to give a shout to that helped make it happen?
Like always, a big shout out to my wife and my cat, and then again, a big shout out to my teammate as well. Unfortunately, he didn't have the best race second race, but I think he had a good first race. And then to you, James, and then everyone in the league. We always put on a good show, I hope, for the fans, and it's really fun to race against everyone here.
Absolutely. Shazi, always a pleasure, man. Hope to have you back up here next week, and just a great time talking to you.
Thanks, James. You have a good one.
You as well, sir. That was Shazi Zuhair bringing it home in second, back-to-back seconds. But talk about a comeback story. Started from the bottom, now he's here. Ray didn't have the start of the session you were looking for, having to serve that penalty, and it was an uphill battle. But, man, able to make it happen in dominant fashion here at the end.
Yeah, that was a nutso race, man. Like I knew if I could get myself in a top 5-6 position for the feature race that I could potentially have a shot. Jaden's so quick. I think if it had not been for fuel tonight, though, I probably wouldn't have been able to get up there. I saved enough during the race being behind him, so I lucked out. If I'd have got pole and started from the lead or something, I probably would have ran out of fuel long before he did.
Now, what do you think played into that? Was it the lack of open air you had on the 72 machine that worked in your favor?
Yeah, so, not when you're behind somebody, you don't know where they're going to brake. You kind of have to brake and lift early anyway. And so that allowed me to save earlier in the race. But I don't know, we saw some weird stuff tonight. Like, we all saved enough where we thought we'd get close to the end, and then, I don't know, sort of after the stops equaled out, all of a sudden it was telling us we were way shorter than we were, and when I got the white flag, it told me I had 2 laps remaining to do, to actually drive, and only 0.9 of a lap of fuel. So, yeah, we were all low. That was a weird one. We got to figure that out.
Now, something the fans were asking me, and I didn't have a good concrete answer because I don't have much seat time in these machines. How much does the push to pass play into fuel mileage or fuel burn rates over the course of these races?
A lot. In fact, there was a time when I got the fuel down to be where, I'd be basically sputtering across the line, so I had barely enough left. It was last season at Road America. And using the push to pass to hold off Nick Beaver, I ended up falling short a good straightaway before the checkered flag. So it does burn a lot. And that's how the push to pass works in these cars. It's not a battery one. It's actually a fuel flow push to pass. So it definitely burns more. You can see it in the telemetry too. When you hit the button, that's how we can tell when somebody's on the button. You can see the fuel burn goes way up.
So that's very interesting. So just richens up the engine, it sounds like, dumping more fuel, more power, more speed. But as you said, rapidly kind of changing the strategy out there.
Yeah, I would suspect. I think I saw Jaden get on the button maybe once, and I bet he wasn't able to use it the rest of the race since he was clearly short on fuel. And I definitely, after I'd used it early on to kind of play catch up to him when I'd make a mistake, I kind of realized early on I got to quit it. I didn't want to run out. I still don't know how I didn't run out of fuel. I saved enough during the race, and then a little bit after the stops. And then I noticed he was slowing down substantially, and I thought maybe I just saved enough to be able to get to the end, and he didn't. And sure enough, that's what happened. Which sucks because that's not the race we've always. Jade and I keep looking for a race where we can race the whole thing and go back and forth and do all this, and it's always something. It's I hit him and take him out, or somebody slides off and hits him coming out of the pits. We've had all kinds of trouble actually getting a solid race this season.
I know myself and the fans have been looking forward to it. We've been tantalizingly close so many times. We've got about 4 rounds left, so still might make it happen. But tonight, Ray, again in the top spot, another opportunity to extend that points lead. And you've once again got the privilege, the pleasure, the final send-offs of the night. Who do you want to give a shout to that helped make it happen for you in that 72 machine?
As always, I want to thank TGS for putting on a good show and letting us feel like we're real race car drivers. want to thank my teammate for doing a good job tonight and feeding me info all night. It was really hard to keep track of the lap data and all the fuel without him. And I want to thank earlier in the day. I want to thank my wife for reminding me that I had to forego a meeting tonight so I could show up to this race. She reminded me, hey, you can't go to the meeting you said you had to do tonight because you're supposed to race tonight. So if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here.
Hey, we talked about it earlier in the broadcast. Virtual racing always comes first here at League Zero. Ray, congratulations, buddy, on another great finish. I'm sure I'll be hanging out with you drivers later on this evening, but super cool having you back up here in the top spot.
Yep, we love you so much here, James.
We love you too, Ray. That was Ray Aguilar bringing it home in the top spot here of the feature event. He was accompanied by Mr. Shazi Zuhair, as well as Antonio Bianchi, rounding out the top three. On behalf of Team Goon Squad, as well as LeagueZero.net, my name has been James East. Thank you all so much for spending your Thursday night with us, and I'll see you at the next one. Have a great night, everybody.